Hey, how you doing? This is Thomas Paine, Prison Promise OG, Teller, Redemption and Rebirth. Today I'm sitting with my man, Deron Smith. And you know, Deron Smith is a very important guy down here at Cincinnati. He's under the radar, but he's doing a lot of work. I just want everybody to know a little bit about Deron before I have Deron introduce himself. Deron, you know, he sat at in the White House roundtable discussion and panel with the Honorable Barbara Bush on the Mentoring Initiative movement. He also has speaking engagements at Northern Kentucky University. He's been highly requested at Mount St. Joseph's, and also as well known in Atlanta and Chicago for youth violence conferences. And he also has 6 years of advanced education, a CDCA, Board of Chemical Dependency, career development practitioner, workforce development specialist, specialist in youth trauma. And he also has contacts with the Hamilton County Juvenile Courts, Cincinnati Public School System, University of Cincinnati, Adult Parole Authorities, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Lighthouse Youth Service, and Northern Kentucky. So today we're talking to a man who has really put in the work and really is helping people and is really connected with a lot of people. But once you hear his story, then you're gonna understand where he came from and to get where he is today. So Deron, nice being on the show with me, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Now,
My pleasure.
I want you to introduce yourself to the people and let them know who Deron Smith is before you became the president of I Dream Academy.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Let me say, first of all, thank you guys for coming to Cincinnati, man, to the Natty, and sitting here in this I Dream Academy office, man, even with giving me this time. But you mentioned it. This is Deron Smith. And today I am the president and CEO of I Dream Academy, Mentoring and Development, a therapeutic academy.
Right.
And the difference of the therapeutic versus the mental health is that we wanted to, the purpose was to, it is to, take a different approach before we get to that next level.
Okay.
And again, we respect that next level, but we wanted to do something as far as intervene before
Now
diagnosis.
tell them a little bit about the young Deron.
Oh man, just
Yeah.
dating back in time.
Yeah. Go
Let's
back
go
in
ahead.
time. Yeah,
Let's go ahead and paint
that's
this
going to
wheel
put it in
backwards,
reverse.
right?
That's
So-
going to put it in reverse.
All right, we can do that. We can do that. So, young Deron, man, this angry little kid, angry kid out here in the Natty. Madisonville was my stomping grounds.
Okay.
And just being tormented because part of the growth and the development was unhappy. You know, I
Correct.
grew up in a real contentious atmosphere, domestic violence, pops, putting hands on moms and
Yeah.
everything else like that, and seeing early drugs and street activities, selling dope, whole 9 yards, and I think the anger, man, kind of just led me into a whole nother direction because even if it wasn't a physical abuse, man, the emotional abuse that a young kid don't know how to handle
Worse than physical.
can veer you off into behaviors that you can't even explain why you're doing them. You're just angry. And so we talked about perception.
Exactly.
So at what age did I stop looking at the world as beautiful? So part of this was that little kid that first had this big old dream to be sports athlete, child psychologist, all this other stuff.
Big dreams.
Yeah, man, big dreams, constantly, immediately, piece by piece, being squashed. And so when all of the negative things start coming in, you kind of lose that big dream and that you lose even the potential of that big dream ever
Lose
to
the
come
desire.
into a reality. So eventually you just get burnt out and lose the desire.
Right.
And so that's the Deron right there that just laid the foundation of an angry kid that got me caught up into the street life.
Now you went to prison. How many times? How many times did it take you to get it right?
Well, definitely I got 3 penitentiary numbers.
Okay.
You know, you try. I tried. The first one was a 2 to 8. Ended up serving a year.
Okay.
But before, and then the second one, it was a 14-year sentence. I
Okay.
stepped out 7 years. 7 years straight on that one.
Okay.
You know, and then the third one, something light for some other things. But at that time, I was already in a productive role when that took place.
Right.
And I think the purpose for that third one is to just basically show, man, that life don't become perfect for you.
Right.
You have to continue to endure
You got to
through
make
the
it perfect.
hardships. Because even in that third one, I felt that I shouldn't have gone back to
Right.
prison at that time, but it didn't stop me. That's what tenacity and that. So that's where I would want to share that life comes with challenges.
Oh, definitely.
Life comes with hardships, but you can't give up with that.
Exactly.
No matter what
And
type of
matter of
setback you
fact,
take.
you and I was talking about penitentiary life, and we was talking about the places we've been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the places we've been, we probably done crossed paths.
Man, ain't no telling.
Yeah, we probably done crossed paths.
Ain't no telling.
Yeah, because when you was at Orient, and London and
Yeah,
places
man.
like that, I was in them same places.
Shut it down. I shut
Yeah.
it down. That was it.
And one other thing I want the people to know, Duran, he writes books. He wrote a book right here, The Innocence of a Child. This is available, what's that, Amazon?
Yeah, we're putting it back in print, and it's in all the bookstores across the Amazon, Barnes and Nobles
Yeah,
platform.
yeah. Not to interrupt you, but this book right here is deep. I mean, I ain't a book guy unless I was in prison. I read all kind of books, but on the street, I really don't read books. But I read the first paragraph of this book right here, and it hit me. It was like, wow. Because you don't understand what little kids or people go through until you read this book, and you will have a better understanding. But I ain't gonna tell you what's in the book. I want y'all to go out and get the book so you can see for yourself. But I ain't gonna promote the book if it ain't no good. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention before me and Duran really get into some heavy topics right here. Because first of all, me and Duran, we met at a 50 years of hip hop, 50 years of mass incarceration event put on by the Ohio Justice and Policy Center down here in Cincinnati. And that event opened my eyes to a whole nother level of the game, and it opened my eyes to people that's doing the same thing as I'm doing, but I'm at the beginning, but they already passed where I'm at. So I want to help these people. Are going to help me get to where I need to be, because I done met some good people that willing to give me the time of day. That's why I'm sitting here with Duran today. Okay, Duran, like, what was it like being in the White House with Barbara Bush?
Man, now I never met Barbara Bush personally,
Right.
but in the event I admired what they were doing, and I went with an organization out there because that organization was coming into London.
Okay.
And that organization was coming into the institutions, and I was just already in my mind that I wasn't going back out to the streets the same way.
Right.
So while they were coming into the institution, I was already putting Innocence of a Child to the table.
Okay.
I was writing. I was in college. I was in school. I was already demonstrating behaviors
Right.
that was saying that I wasn't coming back on this side of the game. If I was to come back inside the penitentiary walls, I told those COs that it would be as a speaker. And
Yeah.
I told them. So I realized, man, that I had to curve and cut out the negative behaviors and replace them with something that
Positive
I've never even done before.
Right.
So in that changed mindset and the changed behaviors, it was that challenge. So that organization has sought me out as one of the pillars
Okay.
in their groups that they were working with. And so when I came home, I connected with them.
Right.
And I got up under their tutelage. I got mentored. They walked with me. And one thing led to the next, because what we talk about is that you need somebody
Always.
in this journey of
Always
transition.
gotta have allies.
And it was that organization that I connected to that got me to the White House, and next steps were there. And it was like a domino.
Right.
This domino goes here, this puzzle piece goes there, that puzzle piece goes there. And that's how I ended up at the mentoring initiative.
Okay, now, what made you wanna do what you're doing? What drove you to do this?
Man, it's that passion. When I did Innocence of a Child, man, the hurt to prevent others from having that hurt
Yeah.
that I experienced emotionally, the confusion that I experienced, the being lost that I experienced,
Right.
the bitterness that I experienced, the hatred, the anger,
Yeah.
and all of the bad decision makings that led me to penitentiaries and potentially death.
Yeah.
There was something in me, man, that just wanted to say, you know what, I got a passion for kids. And how do we take a before approach and not a behind approach?
Right.
And so in my mind, I wanted to get to a point to where I can catch it at the front, not the back. You know, the penitentiary was the byproduct of the things that I was already experiencing, negative. That was it. So what if I can break those cycles? What if I can cut that off before I get there? And maybe that can stop the door to penitentiary.
Yeah.
That can stop that if we can prevent it. So that's my passion. That was my purpose of even writing Innocence of a Child. I wanted people to experience and explore, yo, what's making you do what you do?
Right.
Homie, you over here bugging out. And you don't even know why.
Yeah.
You don't know why you bugging. You don't know why you angry. You don't know why you slapped that girl. You don't know why you carrying guns. You don't know why you out here bugging.
Right.
You know, but it's something inside you that you haven't dealt with.
Some anger issues
It-
inside. Yeah, that's inside of us all. I
Mhm.
mean, we all
Until you
that came
tap
up
into
through. Yeah, we didn't know how to tap into
And
it.
we don't.
That's why it's a
Right.
good thing that you're doing what you're doing, because you've been through that and you know how to tap into it now.
No doubt.
Because the thing that I'm curious to know, down here in Cincinnati, you know, the violence is a little off the chart. Now, when you get a youngster in here who's done lost a friend or a family member to violence, how does that affect you?
Well, man, it definitely, you know, in the early years, it used to you grow to it.
Yeah.
You learn how to deal with it without carrying it.
Right.
And through the years of experience, it never stops the empathy.
Right.
It never removes the empathy that every youth that either witnessed their partner, little homie, get killed, or experienced the gunshot themselves.
Right.
You know, it don't remove the empathy, and so you feel it, and you feel a responsibility.
Right.
That sense of responsibility as a big brother,
Yeah.
as a big homie, because when we talk about cats out here that teaching them the wrong way,
Yeah.
you know, then I'm up against the wall, because we do have that side of the
Oh,
coin
yeah.
too.
As we was discussing, the OGs out here in the street
Come on, man.
are 30 years old, 35 years
28.
old, 28 years old. You know, like I said before, they
Mhm.
call us old heads now.
Yeah, right,
Which
right,
I hated
right.
that. I hated that in prison. They
Good
called me
with it,
old
yeah.
head. That was almost like ready to fight.
Mhm.
No, we ain't going with the old head, man. We ain't gonna do that. You know, but you
good.
know, it's good that you got this going in the city that needs it really bad. I mean, do you take people from outside of Cincinnati to come here and get what you got to offer, or you just actually local, just stay here in the Cincinnati area?
As it stands, you know, you can really, I see IDA being from any neck or wherever you want to make a referral, because we're not just a county entity.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
getting at, right?
or local. I Dream Academy is an enrichment camp.
Okay.
And so we are literally a partnership and registered day camp from the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services.
Okay.
which gives us the ability to be an enrichment day camp, granted through the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if somebody from, say, Dayton wanted to come here to.
Yeah, that would be a personal referral,
Yeah, that's what.
because
Yeah.
but we take open referrals.
Okay.
So if there's a youth, a mom or dad that saw IDA and they say, look, I want to try that out,
Right.
they can do that because we don't have that jurisdiction. We're not bound
Okay.
as a mentor academy. As long as they're here and we're servicing them, they're still restricted. I mean,
Okay.
we have that opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the Ohio Justice and Policy Center. See, a lot of people really probably don't know nothing about them because I didn't, and I got over 15 years in and out of the penitentiary, and I really didn't know nothing about them until we went to that event. So, can you explain a little bit about the Ohio Justice and Policy Center? Like,
Yeah, man, that's an awesome program, organization that helps felons. No charges ever. They have no fees of helping cases, whether cases need to be reduced or totally exonerated.
Okay.
Ohio Justice and Policy is there to just kind of, they're attorneys. It's a slew of attorneys,
right.
paralegals, so forth, that look at cases wrongfully incarcerated, and they are financed and funded and moved by the passion to look into those cases. And if those cases have the merit, then they could take on your case and go back, and they've had some great successes with people that have been wrongfully incarcerated for 20-something years wrongfully, and they've gotten them out.
I heard that at the event.
Yeah.
Some people were speaking that they was wrongfully incarcerated, and Ohio Justice Policy and Center had actually worked on their case and freed them.
And there they are.
Yeah.
And so that's what that organization is about. And I could say just that platform of what they stood for in the 50 years of hip hop and 50 years of mass incarceration. That we're looking at that it's so significant because the incarceration piece is what it's tainted if legislation isn't passed to help remove a lot of the barriers that we move.
Yeah, a whole
that
lot
we
of barriers.
face. Because there's a lot of collateral sanctions that it makes that incarceration mass, because it's easier to convict.
Yeah, because, like they always call it the revolving door. And like one thing that when you and I was talking before, we was talking about people say that because you go to prison and you get out, that you're free and all that. But as you and I know, once you're a felon, that's a life sentence. That is a life sentence. And it's so sad about, there's really nothing that you can do about it. You might get an expungement or seal the records and all of that, but a detailed search will always pull that back up. And like another thing we had discussed, like we need to take the legislators, why can't our criminal record be like our credit scores? After a certain period of time, doing the right thing, staying out of trouble, why can't that come off of us? Because for real, we can't even protect ourselves.
Right.
And that's sad. They give us back our rights. We can go vote, but we can't protect ourselves. And, that's something I think we need to put more light on, because we're setting ducks out here. And even if we are right, and you know this for your fact, because you went through a similar situation before, you actually saved somebody's life. But because you was a convicted felon, you went to prison.
Hence that segue to that third incarceration.
Yeah.
I had already been home 14 years.
Been home 14 years and saved a life, but you got punished
for having a firearm.
for having a firearm.
And despite the situation, circled me all the way back to the penitentiary, which created a third number, and started me all the way over again. And the article stated, had he not been a felon, had it not been for a felony, he would have been considered a hero.
Yeah.
That's the article of David Singleton, who at the time was the CEO of Ohio Justice and Policy.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, and I have to say this, they were the ones who were on my case to see that wrong wasn't done to me.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and because I could have been just mishandled, misused as
Right.
far as that. And so because I had come home and I had already been iDream Academy for 13
Oh, you had
years.
already. Oh, this was going at that time.
I had already been iDream Academy. I was a community figure,
Okay.
community leader, presence out here. And so when they were trying to convict me, I had already made this mark out in the community.
Right. So you had some good support behind you.
Very much so. And so the people stepped up from private organizations, flew in from New York, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
But what that point is to this is that the felony, being a felon, doesn't exonerate you,
Right.
no matter who you are.
Right.
That's the life sentence right there.
Yeah.
Man.
It's a life
So it
sentence.
didn't matter that I have iDream Academy and I was the CEO of iDream Academy. That was dismissed. I was a felon.
Felon. And that is so ugly. And no matter what we do in life, that's always going to come back to haunt us. That's that black dot by our names that it shouldn't be there. I mean, after a certain period of time, we shouldn't have to be setting ducks. We should be able to carry a firearm, because, I mean, now the way the shootings is in the world now, if you ain't got a firearm, you just dead meat.
Now, hey, I understand levels and gauges and so forth like that. I'm not that naive that everybody needs to have a gun. It's
No,
come
not
on.
everybody. Yeah.
We're gonna put the stipulations on some of them
definitely
fuckers, though.
stipulations. Definitely stipulations.
Nah, some of y'all cats, nah,
Yeah.
I ain't with you. So, but with that, if you're out here, I agree with you. It could be levels
Yeah.
that collateral sanctions can be dismissed.
Right.
And if you're home for grandstand period of time, why can't you get full-fledged citizenship once again?
Right.
And I think that's the number one piece, man, that you become a lifetime of second-class citizen. That's
Yeah.
what it is internally.
Yeah.
That I'm never going to be a citizen to the fullest again.
Right.
But I own IDA. And so that means I got staff. Staff pays taxes. I
Right.
pay staff taxes. I pay whatever. So now I paid some pretty good taxes,
Right.
but I can't get a full citizenship. The contradiction there is what the legislation that has to be argued to, where if we're coming home and here we are, and
Right.
we are down taxpayers.
Yeah.
We're contributing to societies in its productivity and
Right.
its advancement. I'm not taking away from it. Let me have my rights back.
Yeah. But and like I said earlier, they give us the voting rights. Now we can vote as felons.
I tell you that when you first touch down.
Yeah,
hey, look, put me in the ballot.
Yeah, but what's so sad is we can't do nothing else.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we can't do nothing else. My favorite saying, they took off the handcuffs, but we still got on the shackles.
Yeah. And that's legislation.
Yeah.
And I think that things like this podcast, man, that we can make aware that legislation can only be the thing that can change that, and voices of those of us that are willing to express that, then enough people, things get changed.
Yeah.
But it has to be exposed.
But like we always say, it ain't about what you know, it's about who you know.
And
You know the
that's
right
step by
people
step.
that can make things happen, things can happen. But if you don't know the right people, you still be treading water going nowhere.
Hey, form that group that can put that a group together that can make a loud enough noise,
Yeah.
gets the attention.
Well, I think, after the podcast sometime, we're going to have to sit down and talk about some strategies because, you seem like you're a man with a lot of strategy. You probably played a lot of chess in the joint, too.
That's all I did.
Yeah, I can tell you a
That's
chess
all I
player
did.
because you got them calculated moves. Yeah.
I didn't do nothing else. I didn't play no tonk, no cards. I never gambled. Didn't do anything. I watched them knuckleheads over there
Right.
do their thing, and I'm cool. But I'm cool because it turned into arguments.
Oh, without everything
It turned into an argument and a
yeah.
fight. And so I left it alone, and me and my boy was on the chess set like, yo, man, I'm going to bed.
Play chess,
Okay.
burn some brain, and
Man.
get tired and go to sleep.
And that's it, sun up to sundown. When the lights came up, we were on the chessboard. We left it standing up that night. So yeah,
You know,
good time,
something
good
else I
time.
wanna hit on while we're here. Our halfway houses.
Mm.
Now you done been in them, like I have been in them. That is the worst experience. That's worse than the penitentiary.
The halfway out.
Yeah, because all they do is threaten you about sending you back to the
Send you
penitentiary
back.
if you do something wrong.
Uh,
There is no kind of help whatsoever in a halfway house. They just putting a roof over your head, and then staying there 3 or 4 months, and you better have somewhere to go when it's time to get out. If not, you gotta go down in the line and stand at the homeless shelter. So, I mean, them is some other things that need to be addressed, is because the halfway houses are horrible all over the state of Ohio that I've been to. Plus, they got you in the hood where you walk outside and you got hookers, you got dope, you got this, you got that, but you supposed to be getting me together.
real talk.
So how am I gonna get together and you put me in the middle of the hood? And I gotta walk out this door every day past this. So they put you in the line of temptation.
Hey man, you know I got you want my philosophy on that?
I want
You
to
want my
hear it.
intake
Oh, I
on
definitely
that?
want to hear it. I definitely want
It's
to
a
hear it.
money industry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dollars and cents. I mean, when we look at commodities, and so me being in the positions that I'm at now, I see the politics of it.
Well, yeah.
I catch it, and when I see cases that sometimes go that should be convicted that aren't convicted, or then cats that should be convicted, I mean, aren't convicted. But then again, it's dollars and cents.
Right.
And so, if it funds the cycle of the system, then yeah, it looks good. But the smoke screen to it all,
Right.
that's what it is. A
Yeah.
smoke screen is it's about money. It's
Yeah.
economics.
True.
So I kind of got understanding to that, even though I already know that. Look, cats coming home and I can open up this house. It looks good. It sounds good. But what am I really giving them in that home?
Nothing.
And if I'm not doing anything like that, then I'm doing a disservice. But the bottom line is, people who create those things typically don't create it out of the passion to really help. They create it from the passion because they see
The dollar
a
sign.
purpose that says, hey,
I can make some money off
I can
this.
make some money.
But we gotta, as being ex-felons, we gotta put the light on our people, man. I mean, because I understand the politics of it and all that, but the individual that has to go through that, and they're going to reoffend because, I mean, you have no choice. You get a sweatsuit, $75 on a bus ticket. So I mean, and sent to the projects in the halfway house. So I mean, you have no choice.
it's a setup designed to fail.
Yeah, it's designed to fail,
It's
but that's not right for that's not right for us.
It's not right, but it's right for those people who get in that pocket.
Yeah.
And that's what that is. So what do we do about that?
So that's something else that I feel that we need to highlight and mainstream, because I mean, our people is just, black, white. It don't make no difference when I say our people. I don't just mean one class. I mean felons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are always set up for failure, and then when we fail, we get punished harder than we should get punished. But you set me up to fail.
Especially to come home.
Yeah, that's
to
what.
return.
Yeah.
So you start looking at returning citizens.
Yeah.
Or formerly incarcerated, whatever the vernacular that we've changed so 100 million times. It's like they went from the N word to black to color to what have you. So now, what am I? Am I a felon or I'm what, formerly incarcerated? It don't matter.
Yeah.
I did time.
Yeah.
So now, here's what I shared in my interview back over there. There's a difference between rehabilitation and redemption. I could care less about rehabilitation because that's a myth. That rehab, what they said, and what they say, rehabilitation and corrections, rehabbing what? No, I need redemption. Redemption is allowing me the freedom to have a clean slate and start all over.
Right.
Rehab is just telling me that, hey, I'm just going to try to change the behavior that got me there before.
Yeah.
That's the key. We need redemption
Yeah.
from being formerly incarcerated individuals. Getting to that point to where there's a redemption state or possibility gives me the hope to come out here and try to do something better. But if I don't see that there's no silver lining at my hard work and successes, a lot of mindsets say, what the heck, I may as well go back to do what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean that's what you always run back to, what you know best. Because when you have no allies, or you have no safety net and all that when you come out of prison, and you just stuck in a halfway house, and then they want to put you in a mediocre job so you could pay the halfway house, and
You never get ahead.
you never get ahead.
Constantly dealing in a whole
Yeah.
systemic, and unless some type of legislation. See, we see that,
Yeah.
and you have that camera to expose all of that.
Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
because unless it's brought to light, here's the key: if they can pimp, and I'm only speaking from my side of the coin, you can induce panic by saying this is what a felon looks like. What I shared at the White House panel, I was suited up. I had an Armani suit.
I know you was suited and booted at
What I
that event.
asked them, and you can see it in my interview, I have the whole clip of that. I said, who knows, dressed up in an Armani suit and a fresh cut and a fresh haircut, who knows what a felon looks like.
Right.
You never would have known, and that's what I shared. You never would have known that I'm a felon by the way that I dress.
Right. And
But
another,
they painted the picture.
yeah, of what a felon's
felon's supposed to look
Right.
like. So now they induce panic. And if people are going to think that I'm keeping society and humanity safe, they're not going to put dollars to that. The image has to be redesigned,
Right.
exposed. And they have to see CEOs. They have to see guys. They have to see workers. They have to see teachers. They have to see a whole new redesign of what a felon could potentially be.
Yeah, and I want to hit on this aspect, since we both done been in and out of prison. Mental health in prison is sad, because I mean, before I let you go, I just want to give my little spiel on it, because as you know, we call it the Thorazine Shuffle. They got them guys in there that they don't want to deal with, so they'll give you Hound Dog or Thorazine or Trazodone so you can sleep all day. You wake up for chow, you wake up for peel call, and you go back to sleep. And then they put them out here on the street, and the same guy, now he only got a 30-day supply from the penitentiaries. And then he do 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 months in a halfway house. So the supply is gone by the time he hits the street. He hits the street unmedicated and walking around on the street a loose cannon, because he can't get the medication that they done doped him up on in the penitentiary that he probably didn't need anyway. And then they come out here on the street and they commit crimes, they do this and all that. Then they blame it on the guy. But why wasn't he treated? Why? I mean, you got to treat people with the medication that they need in order for them not to do what they do. So a lot of that falls back on, once again, the halfway house, because you ain't treating this client like you're supposed to treat this client to address his mental health issues. He just in here sleeping and eating and ain't going nowhere, ain't even really taking showers and all that. You know how they were, I mean, in the joint when they're on them meds. So really, that's another thing that needs to be addressed because you got them in there just shuffling around the penitentiary all day and sleeping, eating, pill call. Only time you see them. Now, what's your view? What's your hit on that?
You know, mental health is precious, man,
Yeah.
because it's not. I don't think it's handled as seriously as it should be handled. And there's a lot of undiagnosed
Yeah.
individuals that create those things that have never been diagnosed as having a condition.
Right.
And that's dear to my heart, because you watch behaviors that probably could be tamed by some type of mental health, but instead it's incarceration over treatment.
Yeah.
That's disheartening, man.
Yeah, that's very.
And I don't want that to be the society of which we live in, because we have a lot of beauty and a lot of good and a lot of greatness and even when I was on that other side of the coin, I had to learn how to see that one size don't fit all.
Right.
You know, not one black guy is not all the same, not one white guy is all the same, not one Puerto Rican, whatever. And so for the mental health side of it, it's so dear to me, is because I hate seeing people that possibly could benefit from being treated
Right.
that has never been treated.
And that's sad.
And that's the sad piece.
Yeah.
And so now to get back to, as they transition, if they're not treated in there, which some don't, but then the ones that do transition and out here, that stops the meds, we're incarcerating a condition that led to the behavior. We're trying to fix the behavior by trying to not touching on the condition.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So the big picture to that is, it's a big picture, and it's a big issue.
Yeah.
A big
It
issue.
should be bigger than what it
And
is.
It's a huge issue, and unfortunately, there's no one fix to that.
Right.
And because it's an ongoing situation that's constantly going on every moment. But here's the crazy part about this: some of these kids, some of these adults, started from kids.
Yeah. 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 A lot of mental health conditions started at a young age, and like you said before, a lot of people don't know that they got mental health issues. A lot of people think that it's normal. They're supposed to think like they think or do what they do because they have never been conditioned or trained no other way. Yeah, so I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. That's definitely a big piece to that, man. And we can't lock up a condition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, man, because a lot of these mental health, and then like you watch the news and all that, a lot of people is doing crazy things with mental health issues, but they're left out here on the street, like we said, untreated, undiagnosed. I mean, you just throw out. Penitentiary threw you out, the halfway threw you out. Now you're living on the street with a mental health condition. So, it's about to get cold. So, what happens on the street when it's about to get cold? They do something to go to jail or penitentiary, and then they'll be out in the spring. I mean, we done seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
In and out of prison.
Seasonal.
Yeah.
A seasonal criminal.
Yeah, there'll be guys come in after Thanksgiving, and then they only got a 6 month sentence. Yeah, they leave in spring.
Yeah.
Then you'll see them next Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Seasonal. I'm putting in a calendar in a 10-year bid, and I'm saying you on my whole bid.
Yeah.
In 6 months increments.
In and out.
So I'm with you on that, man. And I definitely think that that should be a push as well.
Right.
To kind of help decrease the prison, the mass.
Yeah, the mass
incarceration.
It's crazy because they always say when you talk about God has to break you in order to rebuild you, and that is something that you and I both have been through, because we have been broken down to the smallest degree, but we found his strength through God, because we can't do it ourselves. I mean, we had to
Absolutely.
we got to throw the Almighty up in there,
Yeah.
because if it wasn't for Him, neither one of us would be sitting here today with the lifestyle that we live.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because He had a bigger picture and a bigger play for us to make. You know, all the time we out there in the street, we looking for the plug. Everybody wanted the plug, but now that we get older, I found the plug, and it's the man
That's the
upstairs.
plug.
He the
That's
plug,
the plug.
because I'm looking for the wrong plug. I'm looking for the dope plug. But once I connected with the man upstairs, everything else started falling in place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And then Lord hit me with some setbacks and set me down, turn me around, and make me open my eyes to who He really was. And you know, and it worked, because I am nowhere near the person that I used to be.
Right.
Because I used to be I was a no good motherfucker, man. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. My nickname was T motherfucking P, because I was a motherfucker. You know, but the good thing about it, I can laugh about it now. But at the time, I was doing the work of the devil, man. Doing the work of the devil. But you know, like I say, I see clearly now the rain is gone. You know, so give me a little bit about your turning point with the Lord that made you open your eyes.
You know, the seed, as they say, is always planted.
Yeah.
You know, and innocence of a child, and I have to hit that because the first chapter of that book is called The Molding Process. And after the parents' fightings and the years and everything else, their outlet was God. Their outlets were church.
Right.
They dragging all of us to church with them now. Never knowing, I didn't want to go, don't want to know who this God is, don't want no part of this.
Right.
None of that mattered because I didn't see any representation of what I'm thinking love was supposed to look like anyway.
Right.
Didn't exist. But through the midst of even the mud, seeds were being dropped in that muddy water for one day a harvest to come.
Exactly.
You know, and I think no matter what I was going through and becoming, the time, like all of us, if it's an ordination and ordained by God, then all of that scripture says is going to work together for the good, for just this time and this purpose. And so I was on that battle, man. I got 10 years of crack under my belt. So on this part, let me share a little bit about that. I was in Cincinnati and New York, and I was strung out on crack.
Right.
This wasn't the CEO guy. I was jacking cars and stealing cars here in Cincinnati in the old Lincoln Courts and Laurel Homes down in the West Ends and Hamilton, Ohio. I was robbing things. I was begging. I was in gangs. Yeah, you know, I speak Spanish, and I was in New York and everything. I was on some wild stuff, you know, and lost a career in the military.
Oh, you was
I was in a military intelligence brigade, stealing cars and everything.
Hold on. So you was stealing cars in the military?
Now.
Yeah, you was stealing.
I can say it now. It's all in the book.
Well, I thought I might have to name you T, motherfucker.
I'm telling you. So me and my wife, man, at the time, I'm over there just getting high. I'm not knowing that battle, and I want to talk about this too. Misery. You people look for ways to medicate.
Yeah.
So even through the process of IDA, I was looking for ways to medicate that pain that young kid was going through.
Right.
And who knew that I started my first drink at 7.
Right.
You know, I was already smoking weed at 11.
Yeah.
By 12, my first line of cocaine. I'm banging out here in the city. I'm doing whatever. I'm off that one track. I'm 13 and 14 drinking full 40 ounces.
Right.
You know,
Oh.
full 40 ounces.
Not the 8 ball.
Yeah, the 8 balls and then anything else. So we're taking lines, smoking weed. And so I'm saying that to say for drug addictions, because I don't want to overlook addictions either.
No.
Being a mind-altering piece that help fuse the criminal
Behavior.
people. Now, these are great people, great potential. with a bad situation because who knows what the inner part of them is suffering, that you're trying to find a way to medicate it.
Yeah.
And that's mental health.
Yeah, yeah. Addiction and mental health
It
really
can go
hand in hand
simultaneously.
for real. Because
and-
one is if you got one, usually you're gonna
Yeah.
play with the other one
And
too.
that's what the book transitions to. The journey that I had to take to find redemption,
Right.
to find this side of redemption. The why am I doing crack? Why am I drunk out? What's so miserable inside me that I can't think straight or what have you?
Can't shake.
And I had to find that. And so the turning point to that was the up and down struggles. And people don't understand that addiction can be a struggle.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't care what your addiction is. It can be
Yeah.
women, it can be sex, it can be whatever.
Addiction's addiction.
Has a component of struggle to it. Mine has to be cocaine and alcohol.
Right.
You know, and in that, there's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Sobriety, relapse. Sobriety, relapse. So I write that 7 times, and I was the speaker at the Mount St. Joe as the advanced writing, and my book was chosen.
Right.
And one of the questions those advanced writing students had asked me, why did you have so many relapses in your book? No, and then they said, well, when I was reading your story, because they had to give me feedback, they said when they were reading the story, they kind of almost got annoyed because they were reading it. My point was, I wanted you to understand the difficulties. I wanted to highlight that relapse and addiction sometimes can be a struggle.
Yeah.
So if you have a family member, a parent, a son, or whatever, don't always think that it's just a state of mind to say it's a mind over matter.
Yeah, it's never that. Because, I be having some parents ask me, like their kids come home from prison and they're, they might have been there for a year or two and they come out and they don't know how to cope with them. They don't know how to deal with them because, and I tell them, when a guy or woman comes out of prison, they're not the same. You're not the same when you come out because you have seen a lot, you have done a lot, and some people took advantage of them that they don't want to talk about. They come out with more issues than when they went in for real. And I be telling them the only way you gotta, it's hard to coach somebody on how to deal with somebody that comes out of prison because everybody's different because everybody done did a different type of bit. But there's one particular person, they was saying that they was sending their son money all the time or their child money all the time while he was in prison and putting money on other people's books and stuff while he was in prison. So I looked at her I looked at this person and said, well, he was in prison getting high. I mean, you doing sit-downs, as we call it in prison, sit-downs, have your parents put money on somebody else's books and all this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're getting high in there.
That's
I
for real.
mean, that's the only
That's
time
for
you
real.
do.
You're gonna put that.
You're gonna do
something
that.
on somebody's books.
And then
Right.
once you get out, you still a drug addict because prison never did anything for you, and you're not clean in prison. So when you come out, you right back in the rat race.
And that's a fact too, man.
Yeah.
People think that being incarcerated changes the person.
No. you're
That just locks you up.
Yeah, it just locks you up. Yeah, it just puts you behind the wall.
Yeah, because you can change and lock up the physical person, but the mindset of that person is still the same.
Yeah.
So incarcerated, what changes when you see people on this side is that we worked on this.
Yeah. You had to get your mind
You
right.
you have to change that. I can't come back out with the same thought process. And and I think that's a whole nother segment just to kind of share that when you do come home, for me, my son, when I left, my son was 3 years old.
Right.
I came home, he was 10.
Right.
I was 7 years. That's a gap
Big gap.
from a 3-year-old
Big
without
gap.
me.
Yeah.
So people in our condition, in our situation, come home and they try to pick up where they left off.
Exactly.
That's a bad move.
That's the first mistake.
That's the biggest mistake. I had to learn how, and I think through the schooling and the education and things like that, and really the self-assessment, and I was deep into ministry.
Uh-huh.
Also, had to realize that no, I can't come home trying to pick up where I left off. My son is 10. You know, he was 3. And a lot of cats I see come home and still trying to play that daddy, that authoritarian.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Now you got a lot of rebuttal,
No.
and your kid's rebelling against you.
Right.
And you don't know what's the matter. Well, how do you transition to gain a better relationship with your family
Right.
and your children? And that's so important, man.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's where we
very-
get lost because a lot of frustration comes out of that.
Yeah, I tell guys all the time when they come out of prison, your family don't have to adjust to you. You got to adjust to your family.
There it is.
Because your family been out here doing
Absolutely.
what they've been doing
Right.
all that
That's
time.
right. That's right.
You the
That's
one
right.
been missing.
Right. Word up, man.
So you can't come out here and talk about y'all got to get used to the new. No, you got to get used to the new family.
They miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of guys come out here like you just said, trying to pick up where they left off. It's not like that. You know, and families don't have to get to know him. He got to get to know you.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's something that I want to very well tell a whole lot of parents and family members. You don't have to get to know him. He got him or her. They got to get to know you because you've been doing this all the time. This person been gone, and this person come back. You ain't calling no shots. You need to sit down and shut up and find out how we operate.
That's it. And that was it. And I had to get to know my son.
Yeah.
I needed. I
Me
had to.
too.
I came out as a son, as a father, trying to build a friendship with my son.
Yeah, that's the
And
way.
and anyone and his brothers and sisters, and that's the key of why we have a great relationship today.
Right.
You know, today, you know, my son has read my books. My
Right.
son understands my journey. My son is one of my development coaches here in IDA,
Okay.
as well as that. So being able to set that tone is that standard today versus me wanting my son to follow my gang banging type
Right.
behaviors and everything else.
Yeah.
Nah, man, we got to shift this thing.
Yeah. You got to break that.
We got to break
that family curse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That
I mean,
generational curse.
we got to break that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing about me. I'm glad that my son, I applaud him every day. He did not follow my footsteps.
Check that out.
And I am so
Check
happy
that out.
about that, man. Oh my God, I'm so
Man,
happy about that.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's huge.
I mean, he did not follow my lead. And I praise that boy every time, you know, hey, my guy, because you found your own path.
There it is.
You
Right.
made your own way.
Right.
You didn't
Right.
follow after Pop.
Mm.
And that is a blessing in disguise.
Mm.
You know, anything else you want the people to know about Deron before we wrap this up?
You know, man, just about me is that I just made a decision.
Right.
You know, life is filled with choices, and
Yeah.
and again, I keep alluding back to the story that Innocence of a Child, the book
Right.
that I've written, is that in this chapter, the last chapter is called Prison Life.
Oh yeah.
This is when I finally got it right. Prison life. And I'll wrap up with this. Prison life said, when I laid on this rack, I realized that life was about choices. So therefore, where I now sit is a direct result of the choices I made. Therefore, where I sit in the future will be a direct result of the choices I make.
You make your own choices.
Life is about choices.
Right. And choices. And that is the key. We got our own choices. We got our own mind. So we gotta utilize our mind to make the right choices in order to have the better chances in life.
And that's it. And it's not to say that I don't get the opportunities or I can't make the bad choice or everything comes right.
Right.
It's that I get to make the best choice that don't get me the results that are gonna be a disadvantage for where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
And
Gotta have that light, and like we say, we gotta give God the power to work in our lives
yeah,
to help us make better decisions. To shine the light up on us so we are no more living in the dark, but now we are living in the light. And that's a beautiful thing.
life is
Yeah.
about choices.
Yeah.
Today I choose to take my time in
Yeah.
making the decisions that's gonna harm me.
And that's something that we always have problem with, taking our time. Because we wanted things yesterday.
Yeah, man.
We ain't trying to wait till tomorrow. We wanted things done yesterday. We wanted money yesterday. We wanted everything. So we rushing and we doing things and we making bad decisions and they put us in bad positions.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if I could close with this,
Yeah, go ahead.
because to my brothers and sisters here, I don't chase wealth.
Right.
The thing is, it's not. I don't do this because I'm chasing money or anything. There's a purpose that God has put in me, and that for me today versus when I got off the drugs and then got into the game, I was one of the key drug dealers in the city, so I've seen money.
Right.
I didn't drink, smoke, or do anything. So it's not money that produces the happiness and everything now. It's the purpose.
Yeah.
And now I'm all about, I'm so engulfed in the purpose that I don't need the millions or anything like that
Right.
to find that. And I have there's so much more peace
Yeah.
when you're not chasing that peace.
Chasing
So
them
I'll
dollars.
share with that, with my population, brothers and sisters, that the purpose is greater than that dollar.
Yeah, you know, but that's something that we gotta get out. You know, people gotta find that out for themselves.
That's
Because
your
you
journey.
know, if someone says, you know, life ain't about making that dollar, and this person ain't got a dollar, they gonna like, shit, it is to me.
But I
you
can
know,
make $1 and never be happy.
yeah, a lot of people can, you know, but
Yeah.
we gotta.
Yeah.
That's the mindset of a person coming out of prison or living on the street. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, if like I said, if you change the way you think, it'll change your life.
Yeah. So for me, I'm content, and I'm still out here.
Yeah,
And the only time I go back into the walls is to tell you how not to get in.
and that's the best way to go.
And I
in.
get the key to leave.
Yeah, and that, you know, that, I bet that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
it's a
because you know we done
beautiful
been
feeling.
in there so many times,
Boy,
and
man.
guys come in to speak, and then they leave. You be like, damn, I wonder what that feels.
Man, I said that. I was sitting in the bleachers, and I was like, one day that's gonna be me.
Yeah,
One day that's gonna be me coming in.
Yeah.
And so when when I was leaving, and that CO was told me, I said, "Nah, you're gonna see me again. Only this time I'm gonna be telling you I'm ready to go."
right. Yeah,
told them that.
be a turnkey for
And they
another
brought
reason.
me, and I circulated throughout through the prisons in Ohio, youth in there through
Yeah.
innocence of the
That's one of our missions too. I want to start going into prisons and all that and talking to the
That's
guys.
what's up.
And you know, I want to do a whole lot with this podcast, not just, you know, touching on issues and talking to people who's been there. I want to go in there and talk to the guys that's still in there and, you know, give them a little hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, bro, you know, I done did 18 years up in here off and on, man.
Check that.
So, you know, you can do it too.
Mm-hmm. What would
But-
you want to give back?
Yeah, but do it before you get too old, and then you feel that you ain't got no purpose. You're gonna be out here living on assistance and everything because you can't do nothing else. So you know, I tell guys all the time, quit while you're young, so that way it gives you a chance to really become something that you want to become, that you're going to be happy with, and that's, you know, that's the key. You know, your personal happiness is above all.
Definitely.
If
definitely.
you ain't happy, you can't make nobody else happy.
And that's definitely
Yeah.
a fact. Hey, can I see that? I know he's rolling, but I have time now.
What's
That
that?
book real quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
because when I did this, I wrote this impenitent, finding a place every waking day. I wrote it all through my 5 camps. I took every yellow legal tablet, hoping they didn't find it,
Yeah.
thinking I was plotting about the to how to get out.
Yeah, they don't like them yellow tabs.
But I had
full.
all
They
those
don't like them
yellow
full.
tabs. I had them full too. But here's this. It says special dedication to everyone incarcerated. To every incarcerated individual across our country, I encourage you to never let go of your dreams, nor the spoken promise of the Creator of your faith. Oftentimes, those of us who have experienced the pains of what it is to have lost our freedom via the method of physical confinement, either by way of our own volition or from the hands of a fallible judicial system, mistakenly apprehending us, we are forever marked. Nevertheless, learn to embrace your destiny, tap completely into your purpose, and hold dear to your faith. For in doing so, you will defeat the enemy seeking your demise and hence conquer the obstacles in your way. In all you possess, my dear brother and sister, juvenile or adult, never let society set the standard of who you are. Be persistent in change, courageous in battle, and wise in your pursuit, and you too shall walk in victory.
Hey, I want you to read that first, on chapter 1, that very first paragraph. The one that got me loving your book so much. Just listen to this.
Coming straight from the author. The molding process. Suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. The laughter turned into fear as our day ended from playing outside. Fear from knowing that the very moment my tiny hand turned the doorknob to enter the home, my world would change. That as soon as I stepped across the threshold, it would be like entering the twilight zone, and the security the outdoors offered would disappear, leaving no one to protect me from the misery inside.
Boom.
The outdoors was my sanctuary, a big world filled with space, allowing me to release a scream if I wanted to, with nothing to be said about it. My world, a place where there were no restrictions, a place where I could let my innocence have its way.
Boy, now I read that right there. Now you see what I'm talking about, don't you? I read that paragraph right there, and I fell in love with that book. You know, because
Innocence of a child.
that was a grabber right there. You know, but yeah, that, come and pick up the book, was it The Innocence of a Child?
Innocence of a child.
And that book is good reading for people who's been in prison and out of prison, for people who got people in prison. I mean, you get a deeper look on what's on their mind, what they're thinking, and what they're going through. You know, the book is good. Like I said, I already read the first paragraph of the first chapter, and I was hooked. So, you know, and you just heard what I read, so you'll be hooked too. You know, but this is Thomas Paine, The Prison Promise, OG's Tale of Redemption and Rebirth. I just want to let everybody know the mission of Prison and Promise. My mission for Prison and Promise is to educate the youth and for them not to go to prison, and to educate those who's coming out of prison not to reoffend. And we want to help with necessary resources to help them ease the heavy burden of reintegrating back into society. And we want to get with different organizations in different places to make their transitions a whole lot easier. I'm not bashing the halfway houses and all that, but they need more help than what they're offered there. And Prison and Promise OG's Tale of Redemption want to be that outlet and want to help these people, men and women, black and white. It don't make no difference. People is people, ex-felons is ex-felons, and we all got to go through the same path. And it's not easy for us, all of us. And really, we would like to get some legislations done so we can ease in the burdens and the pains that we go through. But that is really the part of the mission of Prison and Promise OG's Tale of Redemption. We want to reunite families, reunite people that we have lost contact with over the years, because if you have no allies, a lot of times you have no chance. So once again, it's Thomas Paine, Prison and Promise OG's Tale of Redemption, the Rebirth. And thank you, my man, Deron, for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And you guys, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thomas Paine, Prison Promise OG, Tale of Redemption, Rebirth. Peace out, y'all.